Coming up next, I'll give you an elementary way to overcome the fear of a job interview. I'll teach you a lesson I learned from my Peloton, and I'll take your calls and chats. It all starts right now. Coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville. You're joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It is super important. It's all about purposeful living and purposeful working. I want you to see the connection between your professional vision and your personal mission. Oh, that's fresh off of the oven right there. I came up with that one last night. I was thinking through some stuff, and every once in a while, I'll get a way of saying something, and I'm just going to say it over and over and over again. So there's your warning. That's what the Ken Coleman Show is about. What's that professional vision? What's that dream job? Is it a dream just because you're selfish? Or is it really because you're selfless? I would say it's the latter. Because I believe everybody was created to fill a unique role in your work. That means you are needed. That means you must do it. So that's what we're about here. And I talk about job interviews a lot. We get calls about job interviews, and it's going to be an ongoing topic here on the show. And so I saw an article from Forbes magazine written by Jody Michael of Jody Michael Associates. And this is leadership development, executive coaching, and career coaching. And I thought it was really neat. It's like, I've never said it this way before, so I'm going to share it. So here we go. It turns out that 92% of Americans are stressed by at least one thing about the interview process. Duh. But I love data. 92%. I mean, I've said it many times on the show. I've said it from stages, because I teach the interview process to leaders, how to do a good interview. And I always tell leaders, you need to understand something. When you are interviewing someone, you got to know it may be the most stressful thing they've ever done in their life. If they're not sickos like me that like to be on live radio and stages and stuff like that, okay? Most people are terrified, or at least have high levels of anxiety about at least one thing in a job interview. So for those of you who are nervous, you got an interview coming up, or you're going to have one, hey, it's normal. But here's what I want to give you from this article. I think this is so simple, but I think it's actually really great. I wish I'd come up with the idea. The author says, my advice is to prepare for your interview just like you prepared for your multiplication quizzes when you were a kid, with flashcards. A good old-fashioned stack of 5x7 or 3x4 index cards, which I love. And I'll point out again, if you're new to the show, I write with a pencil exclusively. I've now gone all pencil in my life, except for when I sign a book, I do use a Sharpie. But that's it. I really do, Joe. I mean, I'm going all in with this deal, okay? There's just something about the learning process of a pencil, and I've talked about that before. I don't want to digress. But get out those index cards and write out the answers to the questions you think you're going to be asked. You say, well, Ken, what are those? Rest assured, I've already done this work for you as well. Go to kencoleman.com and get the free How to Win the Interview guide, where I actually give you specific questions and the types of questions to be prepared for. So anyway, she says, get out the index cards and write out the answers. And this really is a wonderful exercise of just, okay, prepare the question and boom, look at it and get to the point where you go over and over and over it again, where your brain is absolutely full. And then it will perform. I've said this before. If you're new to the show, you may not have heard me say this. Relentless preparation leads to reflexive performance. Relentless preparation, that means the flashcards over and over and over and over again. You think about an athlete that's under pressure and can perform so instinctively. How? Because they've prepared in practice over and over again. It's the amount of reps that allows the brain to act as the supercomputer that it was designed to be. So, one last thing on this. The STAR interview method is how you use these flashcards. So think of the questions you're going to get asked, and you think first, S, the situation. Set the stage for your story. T, task. Describe your specific role in that situation. A, action. Explain what steps you took to address the issue or to solve the problem. And then R, result. Share what outcomes your actions achieved. So that's the method. The situation, the task, the action, the result. It's a great way to kind of practice those answers and writing those answers out. It's a wonderful framework. I love outlines because it frees the brain up. So there you go. If you prepare, I promise you, you'll perform. I guarantee it. So that's the key to overcoming fear in the interview. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. We'll get to your chats. The chat room is already starting to fill up. You're watching right there to the right of the video window. Fire that question away, and we'll get to as many of those as we can. And I can't wait to teach you what I learned on the Peloton last night. And it's not a new lesson, but it occurs to me that it's one of the most overlooked truths in the world. And so I can't wait to share it. And by the way, I really went hard last night. So the legs are a little jelly, okay? Just a little bit today. Walked up the stairs today beside Joe, and Joe said to me, he goes, "You a little tired?" I go, yeah. And I was just in deep thought. What I didn't want to tell Joe that now I feel compelled to confess to you is the brow was furrowed because them steps were a little tougher today. You know, these Peloton folks, it's no game. It's not, hey, everybody, let's just spin our legs for the next 30 minutes. No. It is organized, strategic torture is what it is. But it's good for me, and I burn some calories. All right, to the phones we go. Holly joins us today in Canton, Ohio. Holly, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. I had a quick question for you, a little bit involved, but my husband and I moved here to be closer to family after we had our first kid, and it's been great, but the jobs for my husband, he's in IT consulting, and he's kind of new. He's been in here for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. The jobs are better where we were in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we kind of miss it over there. So we're hoping to move. I am pregnant right now. Our next baby's due in June, so we have some time before we're really going to start doing stuff.
Okay.
But we will make about $20,000 to $30,000 on the house when we sell it. We have a little bit of debt, but all that will be wiped out. So the 20 and 30 is going to be on top of that. My husband's
that's
also
great.
Disabled. Yeah, my husband's also a disabled veteran.
Okay.
So he gets a stipend from that, which will cover all of our bills.
Okay.
And everything. So I'm just wondering what you think about moving and putting some housing income from the amount that we make off of our house, because we lived in Las Vegas before, and it's very hard to move there without having a job.
Okay.
First, so it's, it's a who you know kind of a state, like I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So we know a couple of people that he mentioned that he would hire my husband back immediately, but it's in a different position, and
okay.
He's not quite sure if he wants to do that.
Okay. What's your question for me?
What you think about moving there without jobs, and if it's okay to use the money that we make off the house.
What are your
for a couple of months?
What's your monthly expenses total?
Well, once we move and once our debt's all paid off, it's about $2,200. It's not too bad.
So you're going to walk away with $30,000? Is that what I heard you say, or 22, 30, somewhere in that range?
Yeah, 20 to 30 grand. Yeah.
Okay, so that means we've got what? We've got about 10 months for sure expenses, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's okay. But I feel like the Hubs has already got one good offer, and I understand he's going, I don't know if I want to do it, and I certainly am okay with that. You have a good network, it feels like, a web of connections in Vegas, yes or no?
Pretty good, yeah. The previous job that he had was in security, so it's two totally different fields.
Yeah,
He
but
doesn't wanna jump back.
that's what that's not what I'm asking. I'm saying you know a good amount of people there because you live there. And you also told me that it's June before you'd be moving, correct?
Well, probably even later than that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's when the baby's coming. Sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, so let's just say at the earliest July. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, at the very earliest.
Yeah, Holly, I just think you're asking the wrong question. I don't think I need to be answering a wrong question. I think what I need to be encouraging you to do is use the proximity principle, and you guys aren't starting from scratch. I believe the proximity principle works if you know no one in a city. I really do. It takes a little bit longer, and it's certainly harder, but you know people. I think you're on the phone tonight, and we're telling everybody we know, and you've already started conversations. And I think I think that the hubs, if you can't find anything over the next 6-7 months, it's like, why not take that one gig now? Get you in there. His disability stuff is going to cover your expenses. So anything he makes right now is bonus, and we don't even have to touch the profits from the house. So I just feel like this thing is way, way better than you're perceiving it in your head. And I think if you get serious over the next 2 months, I think jobs are going to materialize for you guys pretty quickly. And so I would say, no, I don't want you to move to Las Vegas without a job because you don't have to. You could, and you've got a buffer. But my goodness, Holly, what I want you to do is use your web of connections, which I write about in the proximity principle. And I want you to both get hired and to just sock that money away, right?
Okay.
Or put more down on the house that you're going to get, which lowers your cost even more. So that's what I think you should do. And you got this. You got this, Holly. You just got to believe. You're just assuming that, it's going to be really hard to get a job in Las Vegas. I actually disagree with that. Folks, newsflash. While the coronavirus is threatening to panic the world into paralysis, we just had another positive jobs report. Okay? So companies aren't just going to all of a sudden start laying those people off. Go, Holly, go. 844-747-2577 is the number. We go to New Orleans next. Jessica joins us there. Jessica, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. I am really good today. Are you good? That's the question.
It
could be better.
Yes and no.
Let me see what I can do. All right. At least you have a chance of feeling positive. What's going on?
So my basic question is, what do you do when you can't find out where your talents overlap with your passions?
You call the Ken Coleman Show.
I know.
So you're here.
So I've been like drafting ideas over and over and over again.
Good.
I stay at home.
Okay.
Because the whole daycare situation, money-wise, just doesn't work.
Okay. So you're looking for something hold on one second. I just want to catch up real quick. So you need to work from home. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, great. Keep going. What do you know? What are you clear about? Because what you said is, Ken, what do you do when your passion and talent don't line up? Well, you called me because you just haven't figured it out yet. But I want to know what I want to know for people that are new to the show. Let's catch them up really quick. Then I want you to tell me what you know. What do you do best is talent, right? Those are hard skills, soft skills, okay? And then what you love to do most, that's passion. That's work that you look forward to, and then when you're in the middle of it, you love it to the point that time disappears and you have to kind of pull yourself away from it. So what do you know? What do you do best? What did you write down?
I have a bunch of back and forth answers because of my situation now, but what I'm good at is nitpicking, being precise and detailed. I could find millions of possibilities and alternatives, but and I could explain something until I turn blue in the face, but I don't usually turn blue in the face.
Okay.
So I could go on forever.
Okay.
I'm also unrelated, good at drawing, but I don't have time to draw. I could spend hours and get lost in it, but I don't necessarily enjoy it anymore. And also I haven't found any time to do it pretty much in over a year or more.
Okay. But let's talk about more about besides drawing, what else, what other top skills, hard skills, soft skills? So this could be even high high performing qualities, if you will. So like, you're super empathetic. Whatever. I'm trying to give you an idea here. Give me something else besides seeing details and then explaining details. What else? Anything else?
Like whenever I was in college, if people were misunderstanding each other, and I could be like, "Oh, wait, you meant this, right?" And they would say, "Yeah," and I'd ask the other person, "You meant this, right?" "Yeah." So they're both like speaking different,
Okay. So how
they're
would
not
you
understanding each other? But I can kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah.
But I've never been able to use that. And
Well, hold on. I know. Stop doing that. There you go.
Yeah.
You're nitpicking your own answer. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, no, I know. That's the problem.
I know. Let me tell you something right now. Before we go any further, you need to hear something. The very thing you led off with that you said was what you do best is nitpicking. You are calling me today because you are nitpicking yourself into paralysis.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So stop. You're not allowed to nitpick anymore because we're going to get clarity. All right. What do you love to do?
Okay.
What kind of work makes you come alive? You get excited thinking about it. When you're in the middle of it, time disappears. What is it?
I did work as an accountant, like accounts payable, so kind of looking through the details and making sure it's correct. And that was, it's kind of mundane and not always great, but sometimes, and then like I said, drawing, I could spend 6 hours on a drawing and not realize that it's been more than 30 minutes.
Right. But can we
don't ever have time. I don't see how I could do that anymore.
I think that's a hobby.
Do it.
I think that's a hobby level pursuit.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a professional pursuit unless you feel like you can do kind of drawing and sketches at home for somebody. I don't, but that would have to take on more of it's either a creative output or more of a technical output of drawing something. And you're mostly creative, right?
Right.
Okay, so when you're in the details of numbers, bookkeeping, that kind of stuff, while that's mundane, you still get a lot of pleasure out of it because you see how it all needs to be organized and how it needs to all make sense, and you feel a sense of accomplishment when you're done with that. Is that a true or false statement?
It's like hit or miss. Like I like when I can figure it out, but it's very frustrating whenever I can't.
Yeah, but see, that's the
so it's like not.
Yeah, but that's like saying, I really love my job except for the bad days. Like that doesn't make any sense. That's you overanalyzing and nitpicking it again. Here's the deal. What would you do tomorrow? Let's stop. This is Jessica. I'm going to be real frank with you. You are a person that I could talk to for probably 7 hours, and I would make progress with you, and then as we were making progress, you would find a way to derail the progress. That's what I think. I think that's what you do. You try to find the holes. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But here's what we're saying. Are there going to be days in a dream job where it's a really crappy day and things go wrong? Yes. But that doesn't mean that we don't love the work. See, but that you're
that's what I'm saying. It's not really exciting to do that. I feel accomplished when I do it, just like I feel accomplished when all the dishes are clean.
Okay,
or when I do finish a drawing.
Tell me something you would do tomorrow that involves you getting deep into the details that would be exciting. Just say that. Stop thinking and just say it. What would you do tomorrow that would be detail-oriented if you knew you couldn't fail and you could do it from home, make the money you need, and keep the kiddos from going to daycare? Say it.
Honestly, some kind of research.
There we go. There we go. Now.
Something that I haven't mentioned.
There you go. Well, I know. I can only work with what you give me, Jessica. And you're too busy defeating your own ideas. You got to believe.
I don't think I'm good at it.
You are good at it. Wait a second. Well, okay, let's play. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now I'm getting fired up. I might spend some extra time with her. She's tempting me. Jessica, for a person to be good at research, would they have to be somebody who is good at the minutia and the details and the diligence necessary to dig deep enough?
Yeah.
Oh, why are you laughing?
Because I guess...
Because you realize...
I get stuck... Yeah, well, because I get stuck thinking I don't have time. I can't make progress.
Well, wait a second. You are a mom with kids and you want a job that would allow you to work out of the house. And doing research, that's doable. That is absolutely doable. But you say you don't have time. But you called me saying you wanted to figure out what you could do in the home. So either you have time to work or you don't have time to work. So I can't solve that.
A little bit.
You have a little bit. So here's the deal. You know what you're looking for? Part-time research assistant or part-time research. That's what you're looking for. That is exactly what you're looking for. And by the way, that's the only thing I'm going to tell you, because I'm afraid if I give you another idea, it's like putting two ravenous meat-eating beasts in a cage together and throwing one slab of meat at them and go for it. You will attack each. You just go crazy. You got to stop thinking and start doing. And so my homework assignment for you, Jessica, is simply this. I want you to get online and find as many part-time research roles. Could be, as I said, a research assistant that involves a little bit of research, or maybe it's a full-blown research thing. Maybe you're working for I don't even know. It could be everything from the science field to the medical field, in the content literary world. Just go look for it. In 2020, you can get a research job and work from home. And because you're still fighting back and forth between can I do it, can I not do it, I think a conversation with the hubs is a must. And let's get really serious about what we think you can do. And then we stop doubting because we have clarity. Okay, I can do 10 hours a week. That's what we are saying. And so go look for something that you can do in 10 hours a week. 844-747-2577. Coming up, I'm going to teach a lesson I learned on the Peloton last night. And my legs are the proof. It was tough. I'll tell you more about that in moments. Let's go to the chat room. Marissa Phillips writes in, I feel guilty about leaving my current job. They're a small company, and I don't know how they'll function without me. All right. I got to finish the question, and I'll tell you why I'm laughing. Should I quietly find a replacement for myself before putting in my 2 weeks? No. Don't. You trying to quietly find a replacement for you before you resign is going to create possible tension and a potential train wreck. All right. Now, Marissa, I'm not laughing at you. Even though you may not be laughing, I'm laughing with you. All right. Let me read what you said here. Ken, I feel guilty about leaving my current job. They're a small company, and I don't know how they will function without me. Okay, breaking news. Marissa, they won't shut the doors because you leave. You are free. You are free to go, Marissa. I have released you. Go. Now, I'm having fun, but we get this question pretty regularly, don't we? Stop feeling guilty about pursuing what you know is right. There's no guilt here. Here's what it really is. I think the guilt comes because you are worried about the confrontation that's really not confrontation, but it feels like confrontation when you got to sit down with somebody and go, hey, I'm leaving. And you think that they're going to be mad at you or they're going to be hurt, which, by the way, could happen. But that's on them, not on you, unless you act like a jerk. So don't act like a jerk. Don't be guilty. There's the formula. But if you act like a jerk, I think you probably should feel guilty. That's what I would say. So the world's going to continue to spin around if you leave, and you should leave, so leave. And then when you give your 2 weeks notice, say, hey, I want to leave well. And if you can stay a little bit longer, if they need you to stay a little bit longer, offer that. And then you go try to find your replacement. Mark Patron writes in, do you have any last minute recommendations for a phone interview I have coming up at 2:30 today? Oh, I love this. All right, Mark, you got time to go to kencoleman.com if you haven't already and download How to Win the Interview. It's free. Right now, go. While you're listening to me, Mark, you're opening up a new window, kencoleman.com. There it is. Boop, download, read it. Mark, I do all the work for you. Now, do exactly what I tell you to do in that guide, which is basically prepare. I hope you've prepared, but if you haven't, prepare a little bit. And then I'm going to give you a tip, a little extra bonus. When you do the phone interview, stand. Stand up. Think about your posture. Get good posture. I have terrible posture, so I'm a real hypocrite here. But have good posture. Stand up during the interview. You're going to have better energy. And And if you are a pacer, pace. If you're not a pacer, widen that stance like you're going to pull out a driver and smack it down the middle of the fairway. Get a wide stance, bend your knees a little bit, and that will help you project. And body language will help you with a little extra juice on the interview. But go get the guide right now. I'm not going to give you any more advice because time is ticking, my man. Let's go one more. Anna Diaz, I want to quit my job and tackle real estate full time. I know that if I apply myself and trust God, I'll succeed. But my husband's business has been slow, so my current income is needed. What should I do? Pursue it part-time. You can't pursue it full-time because of the family budget. We need your income. So what you do is, for a season, we're going to sacrifice some time, and you're going to study for the real estate exam, and you're going to take it, and it's all part-time. If you pass and you get in it, we still need your income until you get that pipeline going. Guess what? You're going to show houses at night and weekends because most people work. So you can show houses in the evening, and you can show houses on the weekend. So that's what you do. And you do that until you start selling enough houses that you can step into it. So it's really simple. I got to get some agua, Joe. Apparently the Peloton sapped all of my hydration. Speaking of which, all right, here's what I learned last night. 2 minutes, and then back to the phones, okay? I'm going to time myself, Joe. I'm looking at the clock. This is so simple, yet so powerful. And here it is. I got to pull it up because I wrote it down. Literally, got off the bike and typed it in my phone. The greater you want your output to be, the greater your resistance will be. Let me explain. So when you're on the Peloton, you get started and they got the warm-up, right? And so they got you, they do 3 things on this deal. Okay, and you got this screen in front of you. They measure 3 things while you're pedaling. Okay, one is your pace. That's how fast you're pedaling. Okay, and then the other is the resistance, which is, you turn this little knob and it creates greater resistance. And then in the middle of the screen is the output, right? That's the juice, the energy that you're creating. So as you get into the ride, they want your output to be higher. So what do? They go, all right, let's get that resistance up. And I got to turn that resistance button to the right. All of a sudden, the pedaling gets harder. So I was sitting there last night, tough ride, okay? I mean, it really rocked me. And I looked, my output was higher than it had ever been. Now, I've had this thing for 2 months. And I had the highest output that I'd ever had in a ride. And so I was measuring, I was looking at all the things. They spit out this report on the screen. It's fantastic. And it hit me. This is just like life. The greater you want your output to be in your career, your company, your sales, your leadership. Let's keep going. The greater you want your output to be in your marriage, in your parenting, in your health, in your spiritual life, in your relationships, the greater you want your output to be, the greater your resistance will be. You cannot expect greater output, which means better results in any area of your life without experiencing and moving through greater resistance. I'm sitting in it right now. I'm going to be very vulnerable for just a moment. I'm going more than 2 minutes because that's what I do sometimes. I get into it. I go, I can do this in 2 minutes. And I go, there's just too much. I got to say a few more things. I'm experiencing this right now here at Ramsey Solutions, and I'm excited about it. I'm going to be very vulnerable. There are some big dreams I've got that will make this show more effective, reach more people, help more people. I'm dreaming and scheming right now for you people, for you. And because I'm so excited about it, I want it to happen now. Like Why can't this happen now? Why isn't this happening now? And I get all frustrated, And then I got to realize after I go on the Peloton, hey, Coleman, chill out, man. You want all these great results that are good and pure and for others. And they're in my sweet spot. It's what God created me to produce. But the greater the results that I am longing for and working for, guess what? It's got to be really hard. If it wasn't hard, it wouldn't have a great output. Oh, I know, right? That's what I'm dealing with. And here's the deal. Let me bring this in. It's Friday right now. Friday. You're watching me. You're going, Ken, this week was crazy hard. You can't believe the amount of resistance I dealt with this week. That's what you're telling me. And I go, I know. I feel you. I feel you, folks. And here's the good news. As you head into Saturday and Sunday, if you've experienced a ton of resistance this week, that's a really good sign that you're pushing towards something that not just matters deeply to you, but that's going to have a tremendous impact. And don't you quit pushing. You recreate yourself over the weekend. You restore yourself over the weekend. You know what? I'm okay if you resign tonight at 5:30. Just don't tell anybody. Just write a letter. I quit tonight. I'm done. Don't show the letter to anybody. And show back up on Monday morning. And know that the resistance you face tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, it is the resistance that you must embrace and go through. And the resistance, the very thing that's driving you crazy, it's got you a little bit discouraged. And maybe you just want to quit. You got to realize that it is the resistance that creates the great output. So just like me on the bike last night, with 8 minutes to go, I'm by myself in the bonus room. Nobody's looking, and I'm literally going, I could just stop right now. This hurts. My legs are burning. I have amino acids bursting out of my ears. I mean, it was unhealthy. But if I quit, I don't get the output that I want. So soak on that today. 844-747-2577 is the number. Let's go to Crystal in Tucson, Arizona. Crystal, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Oh, wow. How are you?
I'm a little fired up. Can you tell?
You got me fired up. I'm like, all right, resistance, and we got the pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What's going on?
So, I am in Tucson, Arizona. I relocated from Greenville, South Carolina about 5 years ago. I was working for a major telecommunication company giant in South Carolina, and went through a divorce and closed that chapter out and relocated out to Tucson with my daughter.
Okay.
And my parents live here. I've had to make some adjustments. I mean, I've Ubered. I've done, did what I needed to do so that I'm able to still be a full-time mom, and kind of just put some of my passions and dreams, to the side. So I'm at a point now. I work for the state, and it's time for me to go. Like I should have been gone a while ago, and I kind of got complacent, I think.
Yeah.
The agency that I work for, it's a dead end. And so I've taken all the assessments, and I get frustrated because as they're coaching, some of the managers are coaching, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys need to do this. Okay, this is how you write your action plans. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here because I'm not being utilized. My skills are not at all.
What do you want to go to, Crystal? What do you want to go to?
I wanted to career consulting, employee development for organizations, helping close the gaps with their managers and their front line.
Okay.
And I did a lot of the career development on the side when I was working in South Carolina.
So why aren't you there? Why aren't you there right now?
I went through a divorce, and so I no longer work for the company. I had to shut that whole part of my life down.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you moved to Tucson. Why aren't you pursuing that type of work in Tucson?
I'm having a rough time. I can't position myself. So trying to go and write my resumes, I'm getting wrapped around the axle. So I'm talking myself out of positions that have been here and making decent money, which is what I need to make.
Why are you talking to yourself? What are you saying to yourself?
I mean, I'm just like, I can't do my resume, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's walk down this path again.
Okay, Crystal, hold on a second. Crystal, I want you to adjust your phone, number one. But
okay.
There we go. Let's get that phone close to your mouth, and let's see if I can hear you a little bit better. I don't understand what is the doubt that is consuming you from just filling out a resume. I don't understand. Be more specific.
Well, what it is what I have, the way that I have my information on paper, I'm not confident in it that it's not going through the ATS systems, and so I'm not getting a call. So what's happening is I'm not applying for jobs because I'm like, I know it's not going to make it through, and I'm not going to get a call.
Yeah, but that's garbage. Wait a second. That is, Crystal, first of all, you don't know that. You are not even applying. So no wonder you're struggling. I think you have been hurt so deeply by this divorce, or there's something else I don't know about. And quite frankly, I don't need to know it. My job here on this show is to equip and encourage. But something has deeply affected your personal confidence because you are so hung up on a lack of confidence and you're dealing with so much doubt, you won't even fill out a resume. Or if you do, you look at it and go, well, that's not going to work. So why in the world would I even submit it? Do you hear how sad that sounds when I say it back to you?
Oh, it is sad.
Okay, Crystal, have you used my Ken Coleman Show resume guide?
I printed it. And I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this is totally different. It's upside down.
Yeah.
Which I know that's a purpose.
Yeah. And you know it works, right? Will you just do what I tell you to do and fill out your resume? And then now listen to me. Even my resume guide is not a silver bullet.
Right.
So, Crystal, I got something to set you free. Your resume is worthless, even if it's done the way I tell you to do it. It's worthless if you don't have a relationship attached to it. How long have you been in Tucson?
5 years.
You know all kinds of people in Tucson. You know the industry. You're qualified for it. You know exactly what you want to do. Yes, yes, and yes, or tell me where I was wrong with those three statements.
Nope, you are correct.
So, Crystal, this is all in your head. And I get it. It's very real. I'm not telling you that you're crazy. You're not. You're just as normal as the rest of us who are consumed by doubt. And I'm telling you, you got to get out of the resume and you got to start talking to people and find out who you know that knows somebody at those companies that you have looked at. And you've let some opportunities just literally go by you. You've been at the train station and you were like, there's the train. Well, I just don't think I would even be able to step onto that if they opened the door. That's literally what you've been saying.
No, you're right.
I know I'm right. I know I'm right. But what I'm telling you is, Crystal, stop. Stop thinking and start doing. Start talking to people today and start finding other opportunities and go, who do I know at that company? Well, if I don't know anybody directly, who do I know that knows somebody at that company? And then do the Ken Coleman Show resume and stop editing it and just do it the way I tell you to do it and print that thing off, email that thing, and stop thinking about it because I'm telling you, Crystal, my resume guide and my template is fan-freaking-tastic. So if you just do it and then you give it to people and you say, hey, I need you to take my resume into the hiring manager and say, and endorse me. And you will get interviews, Crystal, and then you will do a great job in those interviews and then you will get hired. Do you understand, Crystal, what I'm saying to you?
It is crystal clear.
Yes! 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 Yes, Crystal, it is clear, and so are you. And I'm telling you, Crystal, I want you to hear me before you hang up. Crystal, I believe in you.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to you in your past, whether it was this divorce or whatever happened, whoever's spoken into you or over you that has made you feel less than is full of crap. I'm talking to a woman right now who has been hurt, who has been scarred, but who has stayed with it and who has overcome and will overcome. Am I correct?
You know who I am.
All right, Crystal. Stop doubting and start doing. That's your word. Well, I wish I had another hour, and I'm working on that, folks. But before I go, you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on!